He thought grabbing a goat would return him to paradise, but it triggered his final collapse. Every decision he made looked irrational, unless you understood the curse quietly shaping his mind. This wasn't one mistake. It was a lifetime of ignoring warnings and escalating consequences. It began quietly, not with violence, but with something far more dangerous: comparison. Because the moment someone else received admiration, his identity began to feel threatened. What looked like devotion to the visitor felt like displacement to the one who depended on that attention. Jealousy rarely announces itself loudly. It whispers survival threats where none actually exist.
By morning, he wasn't thinking about truth, only about protecting his fragile position at any cost. And in that moment, a simple delivery became a psychological battlefield between duty and resentment. He calculated every option, not to do what was right, but to avoid being exposed. So instead of choosing truth, he chose destruction, believing erased evidence meant erased consequences. But what he couldn't control was the silent awareness of someone who saw far beyond actions. Instead of confronting him, the enlightened mind simply withdrew, refusing to fuel further corruption. And just like that, the damage was done. Not visible, but permanently etched into his future. Because some actions don't punish immediately. They wait, multiplying quietly across lifetimes. Pain didn't teach him clarity. It only hardened the same patterns that created his suffering. Hunger became his identity, a constant emptiness that nothing in the world could ever satisfy. Even when reborn human, the curse followed, reshaping reality itself around his presence. Wherever he went, systems collapsed, as if his inner disorder was infecting the external world. And eventually, even those bound to him by blood chose survival over loyalty. Abandonment didn't humble him. It reinforced the belief that the world was always against him. Because when someone refuses guidance early, they stop recognizing wisdom even when it's freely given. He was given structure, patience, and opportunity, but discipline felt like control to his restless mind. So once again, he rejected the only force that could have changed his trajectory entirely. And without guidance, his decisions became faster, riskier, and increasingly driven by impulse over reason. At first, it felt like escape, a clean break from consequences he never fully understood. But patterns don't disappear with distance. They wait quietly until the next critical moment. On the seventh day, everything stopped, as if reality itself refused to carry him forward. And when humans face the unknown, they look for something to blame, something to remove. 3 times, fate pointed at him, and this time there was no teacher to intervene. Strangely, once he was gone, the world moved again, as if he had been the weight holding it still. And yet, fragments of his past discipline still lingered, offering him brief, undeserved rewards. Pleasure without discipline is dangerous because it convinces you that you deserve more than you've earned. But satisfaction never came, only a growing hunger disguised as ambition. So he left again, chasing something undefined, convinced the next place would finally complete him. Each upgrade felt like progress, but it was only feeding the same bottomless dissatisfaction within him. More luxury, more attention, more illusion, but internally, nothing actually changed. So he kept moving, escalating the reward while ignoring the unchanged mind driving his decisions. Because when desire becomes identity, even perfection starts to feel insufficient. And that's when he made the final mistake, leaving everything for something he didn't understand. He thought it was just another opportunity, but this time the illusion was designed to punish him. Because for someone who never learns, the same mistake returns, disguised in a new form. And in a single instant, everything he chased collapsed into raw, violent consequence. Not toward reward, but straight back to where his suffering had always been waiting. And even then, instead of learning, he tried to repeat the same action, expecting a different result. This time, there was no illusion, only consequences, enforced by a world that no longer tolerated his chaos. Violence replaced confusion, because to everyone else, he wasn't cursed, he was simply dangerous. And just before the final consequence, the one voice he always ignored appeared again. Some people aren't destroyed by one mistake, but by a lifelong refusal to listen. Because ignoring wisdom doesn't just cost opportunities, it turns your own mind into your greatest enemy.